welcome to Messages of Hope with me, your one and only person here today, Fatima Gould, with a message of hope to get you over the wall. Yes, I gotta bring more of my fun, creative.
Yeah. That funness. Yes.
That funness.
Play.
Yes, that
play.
I'm doing a lot of meditations on getting back to being a little kid and being curious and being fun and just happy. So I'm trying to just bring that out more often, be more expressive. So, and who better to be expressive with than with my guest today, Kathryne. Kathryne is a beautiful spirit. She's a mom. She's an entrepreneur. Like, her smile is just so infectious. And when I coached her, we had the most amazing philosophical, spiritual conversation. So welcome today, Kathryne.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Fatima. Wow, we definitely have been on a journey, and I'm so glad to be spending time with you today because it has been a while since we've last spoken, but my goodness, it only does feel like yesterday. I know we're really going to be just catching up in this conversation.
100%, just catching up. So, in the catching up conversation, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and the things that you've been up to.
For sure. So as Fatima said, everyone, I am a mom. I am an entrepreneur as well. I also am a meditation teacher. I'm quite multifaceted, but really my passion right now, what I am working on, one of my priorities and focuses is collective soul evolution. So I launched my business at the end of September in 2020, leaving behind an 18-year career in retail sales and operations. So it has been quite the journey over the last 5 years. And I say 5 years because a lot of what I do today really all started after the passing of my husband, John Brian Andrews, in 2016. So it has been an incredible healing journey. And as you mentioned too earlier, Fatima, you spoke about bringing more of that inner child. That is one of the practices that I have implemented into my daily life. Why? Because it has made a tremendous impact in how I move through my days. And it's not just through creative expression, is what I love to call it, but also healing holistically through body, mind, and spirit. So what do I love to do? I only love to do the things I love to do. And that's really it. There's no magic formula or anything like that. However, it does take it took me a lot of inner work to get to where I am today, to realize how to not only shift my mindset, but shift my inner reality so I can begin experiencing more of what I desire in my external reality. So yes, 5 years, it's been a long time coming, and it took grieving the loss of my husband, as well as healing of a lot of other childhood traumas, wounds, to remember and get back to myself. So that is pretty much what I do and what that looks like. It's a combination of meditation, yoga, having conversations with this beautiful, with the beautiful Fatima, and being able to serve as best as I can. How many souls can I serve each and every single day in any way that I can? How can I share my gifts and talents, my knowledge and wisdom to help others, to help elevate their consciousness and to be able to self-heal and ascend from where they've been and begin to create a new chapter and live a life of abundance and prosperity. So that is in a nutshell what I love to do and kind of, what's going on right now. There's been so much happening. We just recently completed at the beginning of June our writing workshop. We held 3 Writing for Your Life workshops this year. The last one, which was pretty special for all of us, is we also included an intuitive art component. And the idea behind that is that through writing, we release, which is very important because we need to move that energy in our bodies. And then through art, we create. So then that's where we now begin to form the pictures, the sounds, the feelings that we hear, and then bring it to canvas. Or we draw it out, or we sketch it out. So however, which way we want to be able to express that, that's what we do. So, yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That was a little bit of what's been going on.
But that is so cool because, you know, I remember when we first met, you were just like very quiet, very like into your, like inside of here. You weren't here at all. Like, and it was like you were just searching for your voice and searching and searching, searching.
Yes.
And it's so good to see that, you know, now you're over here, you're out there, you're vocal, you are magnificent, phenomenal. And I really want to just say how proud I am. Like, I am so proud to have met you at the beginning of both of our journeys inside of being entrepreneurs, inside of us just fulfilling that life's purpose. And you had said something about the name of your business, and it caught my ear, and I'm like, what does that even mean? What did you say your business was again?
Oh, Collective Soul Evolution.
Collective Soul Evolution.
Yes.
Like, I love that. Collective Soul Evolution, like mind, body, spirit, soul as a collective. And then we evolve.
Yes.
Wow. That is not only a mouthful, but it is like, the only word I can say for that right now, Kathryne, is super fantabulous. Like, that takes everything to a whole different level. If you're not getting over the walls with that, just by saying that 10 times as a mantra, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, man, I love it, Fatima. It's always so great with you.
And the fact that you left your job after 18 years, I knew your struggles there. I knew you wanted to be, you wanted to grow. I knew you wanted to expand. But some part of you was kept in a container in that limited box. Now you lifted the box off. And it's
absolutely. You know, it was such a major shift in mindset, and a lot of that was in part to, and I'm not sure how much you know about this, but it had a lot to do with ancestral and generational healing. And the more I researched and studied, and also was being mentored by other spiritual teachers, channelers, intuitive psychics, and mediums, and just sharing their knowledge and wisdom with me, and understanding how, when we look through our lineage, and when we can look back at the experiences that our grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on, and we're talking at least minimum 7 generations back. Now, I don't know about you, Fatima, but I don't really know much about my family beyond my great-grandparents. Like, I don't. And as I started to research and look into that, I saw patterns. And that was one of the things that I realized, this is actually one of my gifts. This is what I'm really good at, is catching the patterns and seeing how that was playing out in the lives of my family, my aunts and my uncles, and extended. And so the more I was healing those traumas and those wounds, I had taken myself through some past life regressions, put myself into self-hypnosis to really understand what were some of those things and some of the information that I got, and then also corroborating the information. With that, I'm not making this up. I want to make sure I'm not making this up, and also corroborating the information and realizing, wow. And I remember when I was quite young, because of, some of the things that I had experienced during that time, not knowing then what a gift and what a lesson it actually was, even though I may not have thought it was at the time, I probably would have been about 6 or 7 years old. And I remember looking and seeing my parents fighting, like yelling in the fighting. the physicality of it. And then that being then turned on me and saying, and I knew instinctively at that time that that stuff, I was going to stop. I had no idea. I just said, but that was not something that I was going to carry forward or have carried forward. And so, you know, here we are. And one of the gifts inside of grieving and in losing John was seeing how much of that trauma and childhood wounds I had not healed. I thought I did. I thought I did a very good job at covering it all up, which is, you know, hence why you said when we first met, how long ago, that's who I was. I was afraid, really afraid, not expressed in the ways that I really wanted to be, right? So seeing all of that and knowing that, okay, again, another gift, another lesson learned when you lose someone, you know, very dear to you is, wow, we really don't have much time. We really don't. I don't know what's going to happen later on today. I don't know what could happen tomorrow or 3 months from now or by the end of this year. But what I do know is that I have this moment now. And so how can I make the best and the most of it with myself, whoever's around me, however that is, make the best of it now. And so what does that look like? Right? And it's okay. So we create from possibility, understanding that we're co-creators. And so once I started to understand those pieces, those parts of me that I never understood before, I said, oh, well, I already always had it in me. So I understand if I'm a co-creator, yes, all that stuff I've now healed, but then now what's the new story I'm creating now, right?
Wow.
And so
that is awesome. And again, our lives are intertwining because I so too went on that journey of the past life and healing. And I would say it's fortunate and in the realm of knowing history, that my particular history and my family's history being of Caribbean African descent, we can go all the way back. It goes back to my grandmother's mother being a product, which is my great grandmother, being a product of a slave owner and the person who worked for that plantation getting together and impregnating a white Scottish woman. Who was, when the baby was born, she was then sent back to Scotland. So my great grandmother did not grow up knowing a mother's love. And if you know the history about slavery, they were basically bred to keep on working in the plantation. So you don't have that mother's love. The kids were ripped away or they away because they were just born to bred to work. So that piece of knowing your family and your mother's love isn't there, and which plays out, it plays out today. So when I found that out, it's like, okay, then I have to raise my kids differently. I have to raise them in a loving surroundings. I have to find a man that loves me, appreciate, not with the physical violence and the trauma that both of us would be coming with, being from West Indies, being from the trauma. So you are so absolutely right. And so, you know, out of that really comes this movement of getting over the wall. So my next question to you is, and I can hear some of it, but I'm going to ask the question anyways.
Yes.
What does having hope mean to you?
Yes, I had a feeling that was what you're going to ask next. Yes. So I did, touch on it a bit, which is, as I said, when we understand the power that we hold as in source, being connected to God, divine, you know, we always say, whatever you want to call that power, that energy source, we know is there. We don't see it, but we know. When we stay in connection with that and understand that we are co-creators and that we are powerful manifestors, that those things don't define who we are, yet we've learned the lessons and the teachings necessary to now help us with this new chapter or leg of our journey that we're now going on. Much wiser, right? Much wiser. And so when we understand that, there are so many possibilities in the highest light that we can imagine and dream of beyond our wildest dreams. What would that be? And, people say, well, okay, remove, whether you have money or not or anything. Okay. We hear that most often, but really and truly, just when you sit there and you think, what would be so really, really great to experience? How would you love to see yourself expressing your joy each and every single day, in every single moment that you have? And it's a lot of the times it's as simple as saying hello. Wow, you look beautiful today. Oh, wow, I look beautiful today. Giving yourself some of that self-care. When we remember those things and we look at, okay, can we be of the highest and best service, not only to others, but for ourselves, so we can show up in the best possible way for everyone else. Then yes, that's where we have that hope, setting that intention of knowing that it is possible. It is possible. God wanted us to live our lives, not hustling and grinding and rushing and going to and fro. She wanted us, Source wanted us to live our lives fully in the experiences, even as small as when we were walking and we bent over to smell a flower. And so, don't look at your watch and say, okay, I got 5 minutes. Okay, yeah, let me smell it. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go. No, you're going to stay present in that moment and you're going to stand there and you're going to smell that flower for as long as you want. And then you're going to go. But not a second sooner, not a second later, when you're ready to go. And always tuning into what feels good. And so with that, when we're always coming from that place of love and seeing what's always possible, then the actions will fall in place to support that. Us then bringing in a reality and in our external environment that has us saying like, wow, I'm living pure magic every single day. Okay, let's go.
That's a perfect picture of what hope looks like, and so eloquently put, and so full of imagery. Smelling the flowers, stopping, not looking at your watch. Like, I can see those, I can touch it, I can feel it. And that to me is the embodiment of hope. And you said it so well. That is awesome. And then, so I know that your business, the foundation of it sounds like promoting hope.
Yes, 100%. There is the light at the end of that tunnel, and you can bask in it.
And then when you do, that sweetness that sounds so good in my ear. Say what your business does again. What did you say it was?
Oh, evolving consciousness and healing and self-healing through body, mind, spirit, and creative expression.
You see, that to me sounds like anybody who's looking for that journey, to be on the journey of hope, is like right there. And that's in your business. And that's what you are promoting. So I want you then, because I know, and you talked about the passing of your husband, and you talked about, stuff that went on in your life, but is there a specific journey, like when you were really down in there, a journey from hell to hope? Do you have a specific one that says, yeah, right there, I was in hell, and then when I looked up there, now there was the hope, and I took that journey? What was that moment for you?
Oh my goodness. The memory, that moment that I remember. So it would have been about 3 or so months after John passed. It was about a month after I had decided to finally leave work and go on a leave of absence. And so it was about a month. So it was in mid-June when I had left. This happened in mid-July. And I had woken up. I'm not sure if I shared this story with you before, Fatima, but I had woken up and I had this terrible pain in my stomach, and I couldn't understand why it was feeling the way that it was, because it was quite painful. So I woke, I'm getting up from the bed, I'm walking towards the kitchen, and it's just, again, this sharp pains in my stomach. It's like everything's being twisted is what it feels like. And so I sit down and I say, okay, maybe I'm hungry. I'm actually really hungry right now. And, I'm blanking out because I can't think of what it is that I want to eat. And then I think, oh my goodness, when was the last time I ate? And I couldn't recall. So I had to sit for a moment and think back and count back to the last time I ate. And I said, oh my goodness, it's been 3 days since I last had a meal. I said, okay, Kathryne, no, this is all the thoughts I'm talking to myself in my head, right? Okay. And I said, okay, Kathryne, it's been 3 days, you haven't eaten. So what the heck have you been doing? Oh, that's what I've been doing. I've been hitting the bottle, a 40-ounce or a Jack, every single day. Why? Because I was angry, I was sad, I was frustrated. I was in such a ball of pissed offness and yuckiness. And I wanted it to go away. I didn't want to feel it. And I remember in that moment, and I was slightly hunched over at the table because my stomach was quite painful. And as I had that realization that, oh my goodness, I have been drinking all that much. That's all I've been doing. And as soon as that happened, I heard a voice, and I could feel like this hand just come on my shoulder. Okay, Kathryne, that's enough now. It's time, and people are waiting for you. So get up and start. And I just perked up because the voice was clear as day. My mother was in the living room. My daughter was in the bedroom. It's not like I was by myself. They're not hearing anything. They're doing their own thing. But here I am. I'm saying, okay. So when that happened, that's when it started. And the journey of hope to begin walking towards the light and literally pulling myself out of the darkness that I was in. That was the moment that started it all.
You've never shared that with me, but it makes so much sense that inside of me coaching you and listening to you and praying with you, I remember always saying to you, listen to the still, soft voice. Do you remember that?
Yes, and I do.
I never knew why. I kept saying to you, Kathryne, is he talking to you? Are you listening? Are you listening to the still, soft voice? I so remember that. Not knowing, I didn't know. I just know that you passed away, and that's all I knew. And the coaching was around getting you into a different position at your job, giving you the confidence. We didn't talked about your dark moments of when your husband passed. I just knew he passed. That's all I knew, but I never understood. But now it's making sense that I would always say to you, are you listening? And you said the voice had gone away after a while.
Yes.
The voice had gone away. But now it makes so much sense, that when we're light workers and we're out there and we are in tune with what you're saying, that higher self and connecting to source, then we channel that source to whoever it is that we are working with, whether we're coaching, whether we're in a class with them. You have just given me a moment of truth about myself, where I always think, okay, you're telling people these things, Fatima, but you're telling them. Like, what are you trying to do? Right? So now I'm getting like, Fatima, you were when you were with her, you were truly channeling what you needed at that moment. Time. And source was giving it to me to give to you, because then I remembered you were in a relationship, and I said to you, Kathryne, I was like, she's dancing around this thing. You need to go in hard on this one, because she needs to wake up about this one. I'm like, Kathryne, you got to do something about it. It's either you stay or you go, but you have to make up your mind. And then
Yes.
you told me, Fatima, I've made up my mind. And I said, good. Now go tell. Go tell the person you've made up your mind. I don't know if I want to get in. And you did. But you know what? In hindsight, I have shared that particular story with so many people who've been in that particular situation, because we not only have to think about ourselves, but we have to think about that person and the needs of that person and that person's future, to let them go so that they can be free to find they need to find to be on that journey, so that you can find whoever you need to find, so that that person can be on with this journey with you.
Correct. Yes.
And so when I found out about Wayne, I was like, yeah, look at that. But if you're still in that same situation, that isn't going to come.
Yes, 100%. You know, I'm actually really glad that you brought this up, because that has been actually one of the things that I've been strengthening, has been the channeling. And so seeing how Source works all the time in so many different ways. And as you said, whether it's through others, through music, through something we're reading, through animals, and the more I open myself up to seeing all of that abundance, wow, it was always there. I just had to listen and start seeing.
So my next question then is, and I haven't heard you say specifically yet what this is, but what did you learn? From that journey? You can pick the rock bottom with the bottle. You can pick letting go of that relationship so you can find your true self. You could pick your job. Maybe it's a thread inside of each one of those lessons. But what did you learn?
And you actually just touched on it right at the end there, which was the biggest transformation for me, and we've touched on it actually all throughout this conversation, has been the healing of, childhood wounds and trauma. That was the biggest, because I saw how ingrained the programming was, how deep it was in me at a cellular level, and having to release and transmute all of that. That was my biggest lesson, that holy smokes, there's so much more to me that I've forgotten because of all of this stuff. And I'm talking about, not even just that, but the other programming that's out there that almost kind of suppresses to keep us down. So whether that's through the media, the mainstream, and, certain narratives, the music that's being put out there, it's just unbelievable. The food, all the processed food that's out there, that we have to work 9 to 5 to earn a living. And there's just so many narratives and stories that have been created and that continue to be said by some, which perpetuates, that programming of not being able to see. And so that also makes it more challenging and, difficult for people. So the moment I started cutting out all of those things, wow, what a difference it made to really see, okay, so I see that those do not define me, really and truly, right down to the cellular and DNA level. And this is actually who I truly am. And this is how I'm going to choose to show up every single day in service to others. Why? Because this is what I love to do.
That is so awesome. It sounds like, being hope in human form.
Yes.
At all the levels, being hope in human form. And then when we take on that we're hope in human form, everything that we do, every action that we take fulfills on that vision. That's my vision. That's the over the wall vision. I am hope in human form. I am that there's hope for anyone at any time and at any age. And now that I'm looking at you, I'm thinking, Alana said to me, you really need to narrow your focus on who you talk to, who you interview. So, and when I see you, I'm like, you know what? God was so good. He put Kathryne in my life at a time when I was fulfilling on that hope. And my target market was single professional parents. And you were a single professional parent. And I forgot all about that. And then, she whispered that in my ear and I went, yes, I need to get back to talking to more people who are in that single professional parents so that we can all band together. And nothing wrong with being two parent, but there's something about single, and I do mean men and women, because there's there's a challenge for our men to
thank you.
Support. Talk to somebody like me. Talk to somebody. Raise your level of consciousness. And what? You said something about the food. And when we're in there in the thick of it, so it's like, let's grab those cheese sticks. Let's grab the processed foods. Let's grab those snacks. Let's hype them on sugar and then send them out. And then we wonder why they can't concentrate. We wonder why they're tired. We wonder why the teacher can't cope with them because they're up on sugar at 8 o'clock in the morning. They come down at 10. You feed them lunch. They're back up on their sugar and they're like going crazy at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. It's really wild when we, because through all of that, a lot of it really was just me tuning into me on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. That's all it was. I was not tuned into me at all. I thought I was, me on the surface, but not deep inside. And yes, being able to make those now conscious choices. Wow, what a difference it makes. Also, I'll give an example. When you talked about the processed food, like let's say for yesterday, I haven't had cheese bread in so long, and I enjoyed cheese bread. It was freshly baked and toasted. So I had some, but I paid for it. I paid, my body paid for it right away. My body just said, nope, you're not eating anything. This is all you're drinking today. You're going to cleanse out your intestines, and that's it.
Like, how many of us do that all the time? Like, I also did this 7-day sugar cleanse. And he goes, today's day 6, tomorrow's day 7, but day 7 doesn't end till like the morning. So don't think you can treat yourself with some ice cream. I'm like, I'm craving some ice cream. So no ice cream and, drink some tea and go to my bed. But, the last thing I want to ask you is what advice can you give someone to increase their hope? Because you've said a lot, but I want you guys to narrow it down. If you put in a couple of sentences, what would we want to leave people who's watching this interview with you? What do you want to leave them with to increase their hope?
Oh, yes. I would say begin loving yourself first. It's not a selfish thing to do. It's one of the most beautiful gifts you can give to yourself. Date yourself. Give yourself time each week, at least 1 hour to just play and have fun with yourself. No one else, just with you.
That is perfect. That is, and it takes something as single professional parents to actually do that, to once a week. For me, it was once a month, lying in a bubble bath, maybe with a book or a glass of wine that, the bottle would take me 3 weeks to finish because I'm not really a drinker. That's nasty, Fatima. What are you doing? But and then send the kids away. Like, there's nothing wrong with sending the kids to go spend time with their grandparents.
Absolutely.
Or spend time with their aunts or cousins.
Absolutely.
Because those, and then you can interchange with other other parents. Like, 100%. I'll take yours so you can have the day to just do nothing
to yourself.
And then you send them to me and I send them to you. And once a month, we're doing that. We're taking care of each other.
That's right.
That's what I'm hearing. You're a beautiful spirit. Tell us all. Take care of yourself. Correct. And take care of somebody else. And then it becomes reciprocal. It just goes in and out. And then our aura and our light will shine.
Yes.
So, Kathryne, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been so good. I miss your beautiful smile. Last parting words you want to say before we say goodbye?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I want to say thank you so much, Fatima, for this time together and this beautiful, beautiful conversation and catch up. And thank you to all the viewers out there. If you have any questions or you would like to reach out to me, I am available on Facebook and Instagram. So you can find me under Kathryne Muller on Facebook, Kathryne_Muller on Instagram, and Collective Soul Evolution.
Excellent. And then when we post the video on YouTube, we want you to like and subscribe.
Yes. Give it a thumbs up.
Right? And I will have Kathryne's information about where you can find her, all her social media handles, her website, the name of her business, all that in the description. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and have a super fantabulous day now.
Bye, everybody.